Today, Marvel fans, I want to confirm a prequel Tom Holland Spider-Man series showing you how the man got his origin. Actually, funny story about that, this will not be canon with our universe. Enjoy though.
You lie! You are like Papa!
Hello Spider-Man fans, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. We finally got here the answer us Spider-Man fans have been looking for on whether the animated series Spider-Man Freshman Year is actually canon in the MCU or not. Thanks to a Marvel producer, they have given us that answer, and although it might disappoint us, I think there is actually a huge crazy reason why it is happening this way. So what I'm going to be doing here for you guys in this video is breaking down all these new details that we've learned about Spider-Man Freshman Year, and with this information that we now have, what is the point of this show? Why was it made? Is there a bigger plan? As well as I also want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this show now that you know the answers? Does it change your excitement for it? Will you still be watching it? Will you wait on it? I think after you hear my theory on what's actually going on with the show, you're definitely going to be tuning in. Alright, Spider-Man fans, so thanks to comicbook.com, they exclusively did an interview with a producer involved with Marvel, being asked the question, how does Freshman Year fit into the main MCU timeline? And their response being, it does not. There's more details than just that I'll get to here in a second, but come on, we all kind of saw this coming as soon as they revealed those first looks at San Diego Comic-Con. The math wasn't mathin'. Things were occurring that hadn't happened in Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Stuff was coming in and out of order. And even though this show was first announced to be the prequel for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, it's kind of weird now that they've decided, yeah, you know what? This isn't taking place on Earth 616. It's another universe that's kind of like Tom Holland's, but it's not Tom Holland. I want y'all to know, I'm going to watch this show, keep an open mind, and try to enjoy it. That's kind of dumb. And I really mean that with no offense to anybody who's super excited for the show, because I'm still excited to watch it. It's a Spider-Man show with classic Spider-Man villains in there. Who's not going to be excited to watch it? But it's like, if you're creating a brand new animated show on Spider-Man, what is the point of just making it MCU-like? Like, the biggest difference in the show is that Norman Osborn will be the mentor for Peter Parker instead of Tony Stark, and that'll put him on a different path than what we've seen, essentially turning this entire series into a big what-if episode. If you're gonna create a brand new Spider-Man show, then just create a brand new Spider-Man show. What's with this MCU clickbait? I was so drawn into this series because I'm like, I want to see Tom Holland's origin. I want to see how his Uncle Ben dies, what his life was like before he got powers. I don't even think we've seen Tom Holland's Spider-Man wear glasses. Like, that's the kind of Peter Parker we got. Never wore glasses around us. That's something kind of iconic with pre-Spider-Man Peter Parker. And I can't be the only one having these thoughts. I know there's some people out there going, you know what? I kind of don't even want to watch it now. What's the point? I could just go watch Spider-Man 1990 or watch Spectacular Spider-Man. But then I really sat back and started thinking and hearing these more details that they revealed, and I'm like, oh, this show might actually be bigger than I thought. When expanding further on this series and what they were doing, they said here, well, like I said in the panel, it follows the pattern that you see in Captain America Civil War. Down to Peter getting the broken Blu-ray player from the trash, and he walks into his apartment for the famous moment where Tony Stark is waiting for him to offer him the Stark Intership and take him to Berlin. But because of things that have happened in the multiverse, because of new random occurrences, it's not Tony Stark who's waiting for him there, it's Norman Osborn. And that sends his life in an unexpected trajectory that collides with many unexpected characters in the Marvel Universe. And just through reading that, I had a major realization to what they possibly could be doing with this show. Because again, I just think it's pointless to create an MCU-like show that isn't canon or connected to the MCU and is just basically showing, this is what Tom Holland's Spider-Man could have looked like for everyone who was yelling Iron Boy Jr. That feels like they're just dangling the carrot in front of us. My theory then on how this show connects and how it'll be important to the future of the MCU, this series is going to end the same way the Ultimate Spider-Man series ended, with Peter Parker dying. This show is not about the prequel to Tom Holland's Spider-Man's life. This show is the prequel to what Miles Morales' universe looks like before he joins the Earth 616 universe. I think we're basically seeing here Marvel do a tuck and pull in front of our eyes, because like the producer said, in this universe, there's going to be a lot of things that mirror what Tom Holland went through with finding the broken DVD player, encountering a mentor, and then other things that MCU Tom Holland went through. And since they already confirmed a second season, we might eventually see him fight against his version of Mysterio, his version of No Way Home that might involve the multiverse. Because again, that's what they said. This Spider-Man will mirror a lot of what Tom Holland went through. But the show will most likely end with setting up Miles Morales in his universe, because we know Miles Morales was already set up in the main MCU timeline. We just never got around to seeing him, but we know he's out there because we saw his uncle, the Prowler, and that reveal never paid off in the Homecoming trilogy, maybe because that version of Miles doesn't have any powers. And again, to remind you guys, one of the videos I made earlier this week, I was talking about my predictions for what could happen in Avengers Secret Wars. In the comics, the latest Secret Wars run, that event changed a lot of things for the comics and made some stuff canon and other stuff not canon, like putting Miles Morales out of the Ultimate Universe and putting him in the main 616 comic world. And I feel like that's exactly what could happen here. We're gonna see Miles' origin and universe be set up, then we'll get to Avengers Secret Wars. There'll be this amalgamation of an Earth with all these different multiverses, including Miles Morales' world, who has now had his Peter Parker dead, but Miles just becoming Spider-Man. And then at the end of Secret Wars, some of those multiverses will stay part of the canon for 616, bringing in Miles Morales to be with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and probably even bringing all these other characters with him, like Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn. I mean, that's exactly what went down in the comics. I could see Kevin Feige taking inspiration from that. But again, that's just the thing that makes the most sense in my mind. That would take a couple years down the line. We know they're confirmed season 2, so if anything, they'll have maybe 4 seasons max before they get to the No Way Home version of this cartoon. Other than that, I think it is just kind of weird to have a Spider-Man show that had very similar things to what we already saw, except it's just more faithful Spider-Man characters, because Sony and Marvel just couldn't agree on things. Either way, I'm still going to be watching Spider-Man Freshman Year. Who knows if it ever leads up to something like this? I think it would be kind of mind-blowing and crazy if it did. But if not, what do you guys think of having a Spider-Man cartoon show that is just kind of like the MCU? Anything and everything, be sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.